Okay, I'm going to call this public hearing on the 2026 budget for the town of La Pointe to order. It is Thursday, December 4th, 2025 at 5:00 p.m. The purpose of our public hearing is to discuss the 2026 proposed budget. And before we get started, I'd just like to point out something I think might be helpful in clarifying questions that people may have. On the front page, the summary, the notice of public hearing. In the 2025 approved column, this was the budget that was approved for 2025. Those numbers were taken from the from last year's approved amount. What we discovered recently is that those amounts did not include all of the expenses. In particular, it did not include the room accommodation tax amount. And so if you look at the general government line there under 2025 approved, rather than it being $661,153, which was in fact the amount that was approved last year, the actual budgeted amount, if you include the room accommodation tax, was $818,653. So $157,500 of room accommodation tax going to the Chamber of Commerce was not included. Now, that said, we're still projecting that the general government line item for 2025 is going to be less than what actually was approved at the meeting a year ago. It's nice to get a recap like right away. Okay, with that said, so
you're being recorded.
Sorry, where are you? What?
So on that main,
Yeah.
the 1119 page. And it's, it's a big number. And so what it does is bring down the overall percentage for government increase and overall expenditures. So with that said, does anyone have any questions or comments on the budget? John?
The campus still paying for the pump outs for the porta potty?
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could explain the increased wages for the either.
Sure. That's on page.
STM.
Page 8, thank you. Page 8, there are two components, John, really, that increase the library's budget from last year's budget of $242,000 to the proposed budget this year of $303,000. The actual library wages, that line item, that first line item, is actually goes down from the budget from last year a little bit. But the two things that are significantly higher are the addition of a full-time recreation director that is going to be shared with the town hall in the off season. And then that position, John, also comes with full benefits as a full-time position. And in addition, unlike what we had in the past, the librarian position in the past, they did not avail themselves of the medical benefit coverage from the town. The current librarian does take advantage of that benefit. And so that's why the employee insurances line goes from 28,856 to 79,462. John?
So will the intake from the rec center then cover the wage, most of the wages there for the full time?
I would say no. I don't think.
Why?
They are charging what they believe is market value, market pricing for this service. I mean, it would be it'd be great if they could, but I don't think, unless Lauren, I'm mistaken, I don't believe that
Just to shed some light on that, actually, long past the programs are currently, but with a dedicated full-time person, the goal is that it will cover their wages. However, traditionally, the ask from the library has been the wages where the library pays for all of the programming needs.
Right.
So, right, and so the idea of this hybrid position is that they can also lend the town and season. And in the shorter seasons where they don't have coverage that they need, it's for public spaces.
Can you explain the hybrid position and what will they be doing for the town?
What will they do for general government and parks? The library will utilize this full-time summer. General government and parks will utilize this person in the off-season.
well, I think part of that, I mean, and this is somewhat a placeholder, we don't have that person yet. Okay, so to some degree, what they're going to be able to do is going to be dictated by what their skills are. The primary skill that we're looking for, obviously, is the rec director, having someone year-round as a rec director. And, you know, if they are able to, we've got a big need in accounting. And so if that's something that they're skilled in, that would be an area. It may be that it would be in the roads department and we wouldn't have to hire, you know, a parks person in the spring or later in the fall. So that is, I would say, John, at this point, that is probably the one aspect, not the library part, but the town part that is uncertain at this point. Any other questions? Mary?
On those same lines, the other two positions, public works department, and then the went to a full-time director. What is the reason, the rationale that you talked about? The kind of full-time,
You're talking about the zoning going to full-time?
you know, on the same page, there's second page of the description. Human resources strategy going forward, appropriate part-time versus full-time.
Yeah. So the public works, we had a parks person this summer, basically doing parks work, lawn mowing and whatnot. And we've had this problem with getting parks people starting earlier in the year so that we have the parks actually in shape for when the season begins, which sadly this year we weren't able to do that to the extent we wanted to. And so the thought was, we've got this person who's really working out well in parks. We certainly have a lot of things for them to be doing in the fall and in the spring, as far as closing down the park, opening up the park. And then in the winter, I mean, this individual right now, you've probably seen him out snow plowing, you know, the clinic, and, you know, not with the big plows, but, you know, with the smaller gear. And so now we have someone who is full-time and will be here, you know, all year, meaning as soon as the weather permits us to get into the park and get it cleaned up for the season, they'll be able to do that. And we won't have to wait until we finally can get somebody. You know, I think last year, when did we? June?
Pretty late in May. And, you know, every year we find a seasonal person, we have to train them in on all the equipment, all the routes, all that stuff. And they usually don't come back. It's kind of a nightmare every spring to find someone. So, yeah, Trevor has been working on
Yeah.
it. He's been working at the MRF. He's kind of working everywhere for the town, really, so.
A utility player.
Then with the ambulance, went to full time.
So that is, now with Cindy's departure, there is a full-time need. But, between what Sarah and Cindy were doing each individually, plus, the normal being an EMT. But the administrative side of what Sarah was doing and what Cindy was doing is now combined into Sarah. Any other questions? Julie?
This might not be the time, but I know over at the park, we have those lovely little boxes for people to put money in. And it would be really nice to be able to have a QR code, so some of the people don't have cash that come. If we have a QR code that they could do a card, and that would bring in more money for the town.
Thank you. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because people come into the office and ask me, oh, is there another way to pay? If they don't have cash all the time.
That's a great idea.
People are very, they know about QR codes, we do know.
And I think we do fairly well with the cash donation.
Yes, Ray's like, oh my gosh, we do get a lot, and I think we'd even get more.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, John?
I noticed that it won't be a budget, but it will be eventually. With the solar array, the town board asked for a 12-month extension.
Hmm.
Can you explain to everybody why we needed the 12-month extension?
I would wish that I could say I was happy to explain, but the fact of the matter is that the grant that we got for basically the microgrid at the ESB building requires Buy American. And the inverter key component of this whole microgrid, the inverter to be able to convert from the generator to solar to battery isn't actually made in the US. And so we need to get, for us to be able to do this, we need to get a waiver from the Department of Energy to allow us to buy something that isn't made in America for this project. We have put in the waiver requests. Last January. We put in the waiver request. We still have not gotten an answer. And given what's happening and been happening in Washington, we think that we're probably not going to get an answer anytime soon. So we're still pursuing that, but we're also working on, let's call it Plan B, which is that we will not go with the batteries. Okay, if we don't get the waiver, we will not go with the batteries because we want to get this funded. But what we'll then do is get an inverter that is just between the generator, the grid and the solar. And that's made in the US. So, we're going to pursue getting the waiver. At the same time, there was solar at the ESB before the fire. We're not putting it on top of the ESB this time. So one way or another, we're going to have solar power at the ESB. The question is really going to be over the next year, are we going to be able to get those waivers and be able to put the battery system in, or is it going to end up being, a more conventional system with the combination of the propane, the generator, and the battery, or the solar and the grid?
So will the grant cover what we're doing then?
Yes.
So it's not going to be like they're going to say, you gotta use what you originally wanted to do, so you're.
Yeah, we've been in, yeah, thanks, John. We've been in contact, Max has been in contact with the folks at the state level, and Max, correct me if I'm wrong, but they believe that there are these multiple paths that would be grant funded.
Yeah, John, that we can continue to wait for the waiver and pursue a plan B. If we make up our mind that we want to go ahead with plan B, we just submit it. And they could still, until that's approved, we can still have this plan A kind of in play. But to your question about this project was supposed to be done in 12/31/2025.
Right.
We had to file an extension one way or another, and the choice was 6 or 12 months. And why not go for 12?
But
That's what
I
we did.
guess my concern is I don't want to find out next year come budget time that the grant money that we were given won't cover what we're gonna do when we want to get paid back.
No, I mean, if they accept and I was told by the state people that the likelihood of them agreeing they understand the situation, so we will get to 12 months. And the original grant covers what they said it would cover, and the simpler system with the US components is much cheaper anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
The only way, John, we wouldn't be getting what we expected out of the grant is if we said, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, we're going to go and buy this foreign inverter. And then at a minimum, they wouldn't pay for the inverter. It may be that it would paint the rest. We can't really get an answer on that. Yes or no answer. John, you had your hand up.
Is there that much of a benefit to storing your own energy instead of casting it back to the grid? I mean, the solar array can be sent back into the grid as a credit, financial credit to the town. I don't understand the benefit of storing your own energy here in the battery packs or anything like that. Is there that much of an advantage to that?
Now you're getting probably a little deeper than what I can answer here, but what I do know is that what the utility pays us for what excess we generate is only a fraction of the cost of what we have to pay from the grid. And so to the extent that that differential exists between what we would pay if we were pulling it off the grid and what we would pay, storing it, I think is, it's about a third of the cost. We get about a third of what they charge us back when we sell it back to them. It's like 11 or 12 cents a kilowatt hour.
Well, it's also during an emergency, it's not using propane, it's using battery for that to be a safe place for people to go.
Any other questions? John?
There was an announcement, I think you made on Facebook that we got the grant for 1.5 million for handicap accessible to the beach and town park.
Mhm.
How much more will the town need? I mean, there was some plans that were out with some prices. Well, the town have to come up with to make that bridge possible.
Good question, John. And the answer is hopefully very little. We don't know. We got, as you know, that engineering study with the alternatives. The $1.5 million, I believe, would cover some of those options. I don't think it covers all of them. And that's 2, 3 years ago. And we all know prices haven't gone down. But this was kind of our second try at getting this money from the federal government for this ADA at the town park. And the first time that we had actually gotten this into the legislation, and it was almost on its way to the president's desk to be signed, they pulled out all of those congressionally directed spending amounts. We were in line at that point to be getting, I believe, 400,000 from the state of Wisconsin, from the Nelson Knowles Stewardship Fund. We also would be, and we didn't apply, but we will for that, and also from the Wisconsin Coastal Management Program. They're very supportive of accessibility programs that, particularly with the state's parks. One that they did that folks may be aware of recently, Washington Point by Superior. Wisconsin Point by Superior. That was largely funded by coastal management and I think perhaps NOAA. So we would pursue, and I think frankly, we would pursue private donations and private foundations. Accessibility is a big deal for charitable organizations. And so again, I can't promise, and I can promise that this is going to be very transparent. We're going to be asking for a lot of input. We're going to drill down again on those engineering numbers. But there will be a lot of information going out. Ultimately, I think we're probably going to, we may need to have elector approval. I don't know for sure, but it's going to be transparent. And again, none of us want to have any significant part of this go on the town's tax roll.
One more thing, if you're planning to do this, will the bridge be able to handle emergency equipment going down to the beach? Because right now, I've been on EMT calls that you have to go to the state park to get to the beach to go over to our beach.
Yeah, it'll be a very solid ramp. I mean,
You've got turning radius for an emergency, like a four-wheeler or a side-by-side.
I believe they will take all of that into consideration. I mean, that's one of the, I mean, obviously for people to get up and down, but for emergency services to get up and down is also an important part. And so, yeah, we're not gonna have a shortcut to that's gonna mean that we can't get emergency services down there. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Are we still in the regular public hearing? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I will.
Well, if there are no other questions, is there a motion to adjourn the public hearing? Is
I'll make a motion to adjourn it.
there a second? Robin, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is concluded. We'll now move to the special town meeting, which I will call to order. And we have actually two items to consider on the special town meeting. The first has actually nothing to do with this budget. This is to consider adoption of Resolution 2025-1204, transferring of town-owned property to the Madeline Island Wilderness Preserve pursuant to Section 60.102G of the Wisconsin statutes. Just a little background. Many, many years ago, the Remans donated some property up on the north end with the express condition that the town develop it as a park within a reasonable period of time. And that reasonable period has come and gone probably long ago. And so the Remans don't want to take that property back. They would rather just sort of have us contribute it directly to the wilderness preserve on their behalf. And so that's what this does. And because it is the disposal of town property, it does require a vote of the electors. And so I guess I'll ask for a motion and a second, and then if there's any discussion, we can take it up. Robin?
That's one move to it. What's the motion, sorry?
2025-1204 resolution is approved.
Is approved. I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Susie. Is there any discussion?
Can there be any monetary consideration? Increase the town's giving 20 acres for nothing.
We also got it.
Got it for nothing.
We haven't done it.
Right.
And however many years ago the Remus donated, it's probably worth a heck of a lot more than it was when they donated.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, we don't have entitlement to it, even though it is in our name. Because we have not done what we said we were going to do with it. By rights, it should go back to the Remans. Okay, should revert back to them. That would be a very complicated set of transactions for them to then turn around and donate it back to the wilderness preserve. So this is an attempt to shortcut that complication and just have the town, knowing that we really owe it back to the Remans, to have instead it going where the Remans want it to go. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, raise your hands, please. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on, we have to authorize the town to levy property taxes for our budget. And the last sheet, I think it might be the last sheet. This sheet right here. Okay. That shows the town's levy. This is less than what the allowable levy limit is. In the past several years, we've had to have the town's people also approve to exceed the levy limit. This year, we don't have to ask to exceed the levy limit. And we are, it says a 5% increase to of $100,000 to $2,169,155. So looking for a motion to approve the proposed levy for the town of La Pointe of $2,169,155. Is there a motion? Robin? Moves. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mike seconds. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Oh.
And maybe my question actually could be for the next meeting, because I don't have a problem with that.
It'll be a special town board meeting, but we will have public comment. Yeah. Okay, so on the levy question, all in favor of the $2,169,155, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. That being handled, is there a motion to adjourn the special town meeting? Susie moves. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Amy seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Town meeting is adjourned. We'll now call the special town board meeting to order. And I will take roll call for town board members. Mike Anderson.
Here.
Amy Baxter.
Here.
Susan Brenna.
Here.
Samantha Dobson.
Here.
Glenn Carlson here. We also have our town administrator, our town clerk, our accounting manager, our public works director, zoning administrator, supervisor, and our library director. And I think that's it as far as town employees. And a large number of public. It does not say public comment, but we're going to put public comment in. It's okay. Go ahead.
The budget, I know that, I'm sure it was discussed, all the increase in wages and insurances, that's okay. But almost every department minus maybe the police came in well under budget in 2025, and there's all this carryover. Were there considerations to reduce other areas in the budget more based on the increase in wages and insurances? Because we're so far above 2025, yet we never spent the money we even asked. It's a general question because I missed a lot, so I'll leave it at that for.
It's a good question. And we did have a lot of budget workshops and went through it. You know, part of the issue is, so we've got this, for example, a person who is going to be hired by the library. We don't know if they're going to need insurance or not, or want insurance. And so being conservative, we had to assume that they were going to take family coverage. And we've got, you know, some other situations in there where we're expecting people to retire. But, you know, it's not cast in stone at this point. And so we're not going to sort of cut to what we think. We have been fortunate in, you know, pretty much, I think, every year, we do end up with a carryover of some amount. And so we don't end up spending all of the budget. And it would be my great hope that that will be the same for this coming year. So thank you.
I have another thought.
Go ahead.
I add up all the departments, because it didn't total everything for expenditures in the packet. For 2025 budget, the budget was almost 3.5 million, which is close to and the year end actually approximately 3 million, a little less, which is a difference of 419,000. Where is the other $400,000 in that extra so a carryover of $800,000? I'm only adding it up to 419,000 as the difference between the 2025 budget and the 2025 year end.
Yeah, and I talked about this maybe before you came in. The 2025 approved budget amounts that show up on the sheet didn't include all of what should have been included in the budget last year. Okay, and the biggest one is the 157,500 of the room accommodation tax payment to the Chamber of Commerce. We do have it in this year's budget. So we won't have that issue again. So it doesn't look, I mean, for that is one piece of it. And then there were committee allocations made last year, in particular for the fire hall for the ESB microgrid.
And that's that $500,000 loan.
Yes, that loan was
Received.
half received, half of that. And you know, that is part of what we're carrying over.
Is the expenditures for that in the 2026 expenditures?
It is not because of this 12-month extension that we're
So we
getting.
will be paying though, or we're using that loan, but it's not showing it in here.
Correct.
Is that a problem?
we're using it for other capital expenses that are in the budget. Any other questions, Robin?
I have a question, and I forgot to ask this before. Why was, property tax in 2024 be so much more than the tax in 2025? It's like 2,558. I had the assessment, but I don't think that had it.
And you're looking at this
Yeah.
page, Robin? Okay, and where exactly?
On the last page.
Mhm.
At the bottom, it says tax per 100,000.
Okay, change from prior year.
Yeah.
Well, I do. So the 2024 payable in 2025, why did that go down $715? That was largely due to the fact that the Ashland County, if you look at both the up towards the top, that Ashland County line went from 2,063,000 to 1,736,000. Okay,
Okay, so that's how much they
that,
wanted.
yeah, and so it went down over 300,000 for the county from 2024 to 2025. And the school went down about 200,000 from 2024 to 2025. And that was all a result of this fun thing we call equalized assessed value, where the state looks at the sales in all the municipalities in the state and determines, for purposes of sharing in what the county levy is and what the school levy is, where it's more than just the town of Point taxpayers, it's also, Bayfield taxpayers, city of Bayfield, town of Bayfield, Russell. For Ashland County, it's all the towns and cities in Ashland County. So they come up with this formula that says what should the town of LaPointe's share be for the school and the county. And based on their formula last year, they said that the town of LaPointe's share should be much less than it was the year before. So that's why we had that $700 and some decrease. There was also equalized assessed value was also kind to us this year, not as much. And so that's why you see the amounts going up, at least for the school. For the county, it went down again. So,
Okay.
sure. Any other questions? Okay, moving on then. We will discuss and finalize the 2026 budget. Per the tax levy that was just voted by the people, we have our 2026 general fund budget, and we're looking at that main page, 2026 proposed budget. And so I will entertain a motion from the board to approve the 2026 general fund budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 proposed budget.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Should you say the amount?
In the total amount, thank you, John. Thank you, Mike. $4,426,242.
You get a second.
Second.
It's seconded. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have designated fund budgets, and we actually do not have anything in the budgets for either expenditures or revenues. Again, the only thing that is really a carryover was the ESB money. It is possible that will get spent this year. But again, that money is from their designated fund. So is there a motion to approve the designated fund budget for 2026?
Make a motion, we approve the 2026 designated fund budget.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now finally, the 2026 schedule of fees. Okay, we will defer that till Tuesday. Do we need a motion to defer that, or?
Sure.
Is there a motion to defer item C under 2 to next Tuesday's regular town board meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So that is it for the budget. We do have this other item to discuss in closed session, which is to consider a real estate personal property purchase. Again, these are subject to negotiation, and so that is the purpose for being discussed in closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchases of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business in which it is or is likely to become involved in accordance with Wisconsin statutes 19.851E? Excuse me. After the completion of the closed session, the board will come back into open session to act upon the discussion in the closed session or otherwise complete the business of the meeting before adjourning. Motion?
I'll make a motion. We go into closed session.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote. Thank you, everyone. Anderson? Wait,
Wow, noises. Yes.
you can stay. Can.
Second.
And seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are back in open session. We have no further business to discuss, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Yep.